You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka, noozle, bippity bop, she-call. You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka, noozle, bippity bop, she-call. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.
Good evening and welcome. I'm John Caldera, president of the Independence Institute. You're watching Independent Thinking. Well, here in Colorado, we've got a fabulous form of open government. It means that you can look into government, go to any governmental meeting, and get any governmental piece of paper that you want to within reason. Problem is, it's kind of expensive and it's a pain in the ass. Wouldn't it be nice if we had more transparency? To talk about that from the Independence Institute, Amy Oliver Cook, who's been running our transparency project. Thank you for joining us. And the Senate caucus leader, from minority caucus leader, I'll be careful about that, Mike Kopp. Thank you for joining us, sadly.
Thanks, John.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's just start off from the beginning. When we say transparency, that sounds nice. Government should be transparent. What are we really talking about?
Well, in this particular case, John, we're talking about transparency. That means expenditures, revenues, contracts. Essentially, it's budget transparency. Most people, even if you go to the website or look at the long bill, it is daunting and it doesn't really tell you anything. Really where the key is where are we spending money? The check registry, essentially.
In other words, here in Colorado, and you know what this is, you're down there every day, we have an open form of government. You guys can't meet in private. Even your caucus meetings are technically open to the public because you've got people who are talking about policy matters. And this is a good thing. We've gotten used to this. Government must be open and it's for inspection. But when I want to see exactly where you're spending money, I can go ask for some reports. I can even ask for checks, but I got to pay for these things. It's kind of hard for the average citizen to understand exactly what you guys are doing down there and exactly how you're getting the job done unless you're down there every day or you understand the bureaucratic language you guys are working.
John, our state budget is 600 pages of line items. So imagine you or just a citizen going down to the State House and they say, I want to understand what is in the budget. And so they ask for this 600-page document with nothing but line items in it. And they say, how do I understand this? And they say, well, you take this book, and it's a narrative, and it's got 150 pages in it. And they say, well, what about the new spending for this new year, things that haven't appeared in past budgets? And they say, well, we have another book. We don't give it out to everybody. I didn't get one as a legislator. I had to go ask for it. We have another book for new spending, and it too is about 150 pages. So you take these 900 pages and you go home in the comfort of your home in front of your fireplace and you figure out where state spending is going. And I will say that is frankly a pipe dream. You can't, private citizen would have a very difficult time really making heads or tails of a $19 billion budget.
In order to keep an eye on these things, we have to trust other government employees, not only you, which you're busy doing a lot of other things, and I would imagine out of the 100 legislators there, really don't go in and look at every line item and every check that gets written. We have a state auditor who's supposed to take a look at that, but when the citizen wants to do that, it's pretty hard. And we find this out at the Independence Institute. We want information, and it takes a lot of time.
All the time, and it's expensive is the other thing.
Why is it expensive? People might not understand that.
What you'll do is you submit a core request, Colorado Open Records Act, and government has the right, of course, they'll give it to you, but they have the right to charge you for copying fees and research fees, which, by the way, they decide how much that's going to be, how much time that's going to take. So they might look at something and say, you know what, this is going to take us 100 hours of research, and then we're going to be copying. It can run into hundreds, possibly even thousands of dollars. But the other point I want to make on that too, John, is you can get the budget, but that doesn't tell you where the money's spent. We want to know where it's spent. You have a budget, it might be allocated, but we want to know how is it spent. And
let me put that in different words. So in other words, we take that 400, 600-page document, we finally figure out what all these line items mean, and it might be transportation costs, maintenance and service for vehicles, and it's $2 million ago. Okay. But who actually got that money?
Right, where did it go?
If you wanted to find out where that money went, you'd have to ask, can I actually see the checks? And by the way, these are open records. Yeah. And fortunately, I would say Colorado is probably better among most governments as far as being very open, and these things are public. We know this. So you have to sit down, you write a letter, say, Dear Governor Ritter, please show me the checks that are here. Their staff comes back and says, That's going to take us X amount of time. We're going to have to charge you $20 an hour plus photocopying fees, and we might not even get you exactly what you want.
And by the way, you have 3 days to apparently, or the law says you have 3 days to. They have 3 days to comply with that request. And of course, a Colorado citizen needs to know the state statute because you have to cite that in the core request. You don't have to, but it's good to do that. So you have to know the state statute, and then they're supposed to, comply within 3 days. But they'll say, it's going to take us this long, so we really can't get back to you. It might take a week, might take 2 weeks, might take 3 weeks, it might even take longer. Meanwhile, all you've done is asked for information.
You want to see an open record.
That's already public information.
To be kind to them, they've got other things to do. They've got to make your sushi. They've got to do the back rubs that happen for legislators. They've got a lot of other things going on down there. It takes them a while to do this. And if everybody started giving them CORA, which means Colorado Open Records Act, it's kind of our version of the Freedom of Information Act. If they started piling these on, we might find out that the people who are supposed to be doing the technical work down at the Capitol or in any government end up dealing with citizens who want to see check stubs.
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple things at play here. In the first instance, I think with transparency, what we're talking about is shifting the burden of proof from the taxpayer, from the citizen, to the government. Right now, if a taxpayer does not think that money is being spent well, the burden of proof is on them. I do a CORA request, and then I go through the documents that I retrieve, and then I make my case that the money has not been spent well. We want to reverse that with more transparency in government. We say, we're going to prove to you that we're spending the money well. You can look under the hood of the car, as it were, and everything that we've spent our money on, you can see, you can have access to just as a citizen. But I think we need to take it a step further, and I think the thing that we need to do is we need to tie that spending to performance. We ought to have to come back in the out years and say, you remember that $2 million that we spent on Project X? Here's what you got out of it. And I think that's the direction that we really need to start looking when we talk transparency at a broad level in the state of Colorado.
Let's talk about getting the actual check, looking at it. So we find that line item, you put in a CORA request, and you finally get the checks, and you see, well, lawn maintenance actually went to ABC company, and they're charging this much, and now I can actually see the check. Some other governments in some other states, and this is what we're driving to, have a different way of doing that. Instead of me having to fill out a letter, send it to government, have them do all the work, send it back to me, see if I got what I wanted, pay them tens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to get what I want. Other states have done something pretty interesting. What is it?
They put the contracts right online, so you can see that. You can see the check, and then you can click on a link, and it'll show you the contract. So it might be ABC Lawn Care, and I might say to my son, you're 15 years old, 16 years old. You can do that for cheaper. Go put in a bid, and there's a way to save money. I mean, talk about efficiency in government, but it's great for business because they can now get competitive when it comes to services for government. It's also good for taxpayers because they can save money by it doesn't always have to be the lowest bidder, but certainly the most effective, the most cost-effective bidder. So you have contracts online.
But the first part, let's stick with the check register. The idea of seeing the actual checks, not just the totals of the budget numbers. That's nice, but to say, wait a second, I think Mike Kopp has been getting some checks from government. I'd like to see how many checks have been written to Mike Kopp Industries from the state government or the school board or whatever. I want to see that. Please show me all the checks. Well, I could put in a CORA, but some states actually have a searchable online database.
Right.
You go online and say, that Kopp guy, I don't like him. Who would blame me? I don't like him.
Thanks, John.
So I'm gonna type his name in and find out what checks have been written. And if I find out that checks have been written to him from the government, I'll see if they've been sole source contracts. I'll see what they're for. I'll see if there's a conflict of interest.